Danny Love moved to Chicago from San Jose in '93. We put him on the team in '93, and he brought, obviously, his gunsmithing skills with him. Brought us up a notch into the autococker world. Danny would not advance unless it was a fairly safe move. But one of the best gunfighters of all time. Anybody's going to tell you that. You do not want to be in a one-on-one match with Danny Love. He's going to put ball on ball on ball right on top of your head every single time. We've had him win 5-on-1s before and pull the flag and still have time to get it back. Just an amazing defensive player, but also if you're in an advanced spot and you have Danny Love shooting over you, couldn't ask for any more. Mike Bruno was added in '93 also, mainly because Danny Love made us add him. Mike just was an annoying little kid. We barely wanted him around. You know, he just bother. But his skill is undeniable. Very, very similar in style to Billy Saransky. Mike just put some timed moves together that are unparalleled. We've won World Cups because of Mike Bruno. We've won World Cups because of Danny, and we've won them because of Billy. But Mike is... you know, we have all the off-the-field stories we don't want to get into here, but definitely having Mike on the team made us who we were at the time. He defined us on and off the field. A lot of credit has to go to Mike Bruno. Pete Robinson was released from the All-Americans. As soon as I heard that, we gave him a call. We became friends. Pete was definitely a bat guy, an incredibly accurate shot. I remember speaking to him from England, and he said, well, what do I got to do to practice to be on the team? Because he wanted to come in and make an impact. He knew how we were. He'd played against us plenty of times. And I told him, go get a dish plate, set it up about 125 feet away, and shoot it at nonstop 1,200 times. That's all we need from you. We don't need you to advance. We don't need you to do anything. Your job is to keep people from shooting at us. And Pete was very good. Pete was a great shot. He was obviously a great communicator and a good off-the-field leader as well. Very, very into the Aftershock scene. Pete's missed. A little-known player from our past. We actually had a few. One was Chris Wright. Another was Ralph Sotelo. Ralph was one of these guys that could make the shots that you would never think anybody could make. A secret weapon. He was completely ambidextrous, could shoot his gun equally well with either hand, which is another secret that a lot of people don't realize about Aftershock, is that we had 6 left-handed players at one time on the team. And back in the day when people didn't shoot left or right-handed, a left-handed player was a tremendous advantage. And having a guy like Ralph that you could send to either side of the field, that you knew he would make a highly accurate shot with either hand, Ralph was another secret weapon that we had. Really good player. Dino is, you know, what are you going to say? Typical South Side guy here from Chicago. Tough guy, incredibly athletic, ridiculously fast in the woods, which is a totally different speed than running down a football field. But blinding speed, and his speed allowed him to run through things and over things instead of around them, which got us to places that no other team could get to at the time. '97 against Image in the World Cup Finals. I'd be lying if I said I remembered a lot about the game. I do remember it being a little bit of a not such an aggressive game because of the hyperball. You know, you have to shoot somebody to move, or you have to shoot somebody in to move, and there's very, very defined moves. That's when we really started having where every bunker had a lane. You know, that you had to move through the lane to get to the bunker. They were good shooters. They wound up beating us. '98 Rage in the finals. Rage was always a good team. I just don't think they ever matched up well with us. You have some teams that are actually better than you, but when you match up with them, you wind up beating them just because of some intangibles that you can't really quite figure out. Rage wasn't like that. We were just clearly a lot better than they were. They could not match up with us player for player, 10-on-10, 1-on-1. They didn't have anybody that could outplay anybody on our team. So as you watch the game, you'll see it kind of unfold where we just slowly pick them off and then wind up with several guys alive at the end of the game to win.
Hang it out, buddy. Get out of there! hell you thinking? Get out of there!
You want to make your move? Dino, make your move!
You're going down! See you going in, Everyone,
It's like this game's over, boys.
Avalanche was probably adapted as quicker than any of us to leaving the woods and transitioning to air ball and hyper ball. The rock star mentality, the rock star image, they played hard, fast, and then we ran into them in the finals at World Cup, and we knew we were going to win that game. I think Avalanche felt they were going to win the game. They had shut down their booth. They had a little sign that says "Watching Avalanche kick everybody's ass." We knew that that they were coming into this with the mentality, think they're just going to smoke us, but we had already discussed it. We knew for a fact they had no chance. I think the game was over in just a couple of minutes, and I want to say we still had 6 or 7 alive when it was over. I know that Gary shot Chris Lasoy, I'm pretty sure, right on the break, the very first ball out of his gun, and it was a devastating loss for Avalanche. And Rocky came over and congratulated us. He's a gracious guy. He's a good guy. But other than that, man, it built a pretty intense rivalry against Avalanche after that beating. They thought they were going to win that game, and they thought they were going to win the World Cup. And sorry, that's our stuff to win. The next game was against the Ironmen, and that went back to hyperball from airball. And again, I don't think we even had to win the game. I think we just had to shoot 7 or 8 people to win the World Cup again. We had tremendous confidence going into the game. The Ironmen knew they had to not only beat us, but they had to have, like 7 or 8 guys alive at the end, which is just an almost impossible task to do on hyperball in the World Finals, facing a team that's already won the World Cup so many times. So there was a confidence disparity going onto the field. They played great. They played as good as you could possibly play under that circumstance, but we knew the outcome of that game was going to be that we were going to win. And then right after that game is when Gary, Spud, myself all retired. So it was good to go out on top, and I know Gary and Spud would say the same thing. 2000 World Cup final game, Aftershock versus the Ironmen. We got smashed in the game. There's no other way to say it. A critical component was Oliver Lang was new to the team, and he came in and got right in the snake against what we felt was our most devastating snake player at the time, Ryan Williams. We thought that it would be a good matchup for us with Ryan's experience and ability. The problem that we had right out of the gate was Todd Adamson never had a gun in the game. Maybe fired a ball, and he was not able to cover Ryan. Oliver was able to come right up the snake, torch Ryan, and then just take us apart from across the field. Oliver shot 3, 4, 5 guys, maybe. Played a great game. No excuses. They won the game. They won the World Cup.
Billy!